Wholeness. Welcome to my space, my place. This is Rashida Silvertree here. Switching up with the devices because of audio issues. Thank you for tuning in and letting me know the previous video that I put up about the issue. So I'm really hoping that you guys can hear me clearly in this one. So I was asked by one of my loyal and very interactive viewers if I can go into the digital age. I've made some videos and I actually made a playlist about, issues regarding the digital age and the shift in our culture. As an educator, where I work with children, okay, currently right now, I will say this. In this new age, or the digital age, the devices that you allow your children to use, the iPads, the iPhones, the I, me, okay? That's what it feeds. It feeds ego, right? I will say this. It's rotting their brain. It is morphing their brain from a beautiful, organic powerhouse of intellect and creativity that can span, there's just so much potential in that, to a brain that is becoming, a brain that is trained to be digital, that it's trained to operate like a computer. This is what the digital age is doing to our children. I say our because I put in my blood, sweat, and tears, okay, into education, right? In some regards, I would say that they're my children in some regards, because I am responsible for their intellectual development. All right. With that being said, with having all this responsibility to train their minds on how to do basic math, how to read and write well, how to express their logic, how to reason, how to defend their arguments that they may have in class discussions, all these wonderful, beautiful things, I don't really feel like we truly understand the fundamental F-up that we have caused in the past 20 years in this whole digital upheaval. I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, it's a them problem, right? Oh, it's not a me problem. It's all of us. Okay? And I can make a separate video on why I upload videos, right? Why, if I'm going to sit here and complain or do an analysis on the whole digital age, then why would I even take part in it? And I'll make a separate video on that. But this is talking about specifically our children, our future, the brains that we are responsible for. And this is what I see in the classroom. This is literally what I will see. I'm not pinpointing blame on the parents or the administration or the teachers or anybody, or even the child or children. This is a societal human issue, okay? Everybody is responsible and accountable, should be accountable for this. We have not seen the end result, but let me tell you what I see in the classroom. I will go in, okay, and typically, many school districts have used, especially after COVID, they have created this e-learning day where the kids are doing assignments from home. They stay home for a whole day, right? They can sleep in, and beforehand, the teachers have to post an assignment that the kids should be doing. It should like a half hour, 45 minutes for each subject, like a normal school day, where they'll complete the assignment and they have to submit it on time to get credit for being in school. Okay? So they'll do that. So the district assigns that day, and then teachers go in to do, work, to PD or professional development, to work on their lesson plans, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But what I see in my current experience is that kids have complete free reign with the iPads. I mean, complete free reign. They're able to take the devices home. They're able to leave them at the school whenever they want to. They have access to games, they have access to the internet, they have access to they can use it as another form of communication. Nationwide, it is by law, children are not supposed to have cell phones on their person at all during school hours. For the 6 to 8 hours that they're on school campus and they are engaged in academic activities or athletic activities, they are not allowed to use their cell phone. However, they have complete access with the iPads. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. When I mention cognitive dissonance, this is what I mean. How can you enforce a law stating that children should not use a communicative device, digital device, right, on their person? They can't use it in school, but then they have free reign throughout the entire day. I'll walk into a classroom and kids are literally pull up a whole movie stream, a website full of movies, right? And it really depends on if, right, and it, with games too, like video or YouTube movie stream websites, and any type of music they have access to, and what else? I'm missing something. Did I say video games already? Right? And a teacher will give the instruction, and then boom, right after they finish the assignment, their brain switches to the game, or it hits play to continue a movie that they started in the previous period. And it truly depends on how strict, it depends on the teacher's class management, right? And the rules and expectations that I cannot step on their toes for. It's become an accepted part of our culture to be constantly, our brains have to be constantly distracted, constantly on, just pulled one way or the other. It's nonstop, can't stop, won't stop. And I really believe that that's why that part of the reason is why they have intense apathy towards their education the older the student becomes, right? In middle school and then in high school, okay? Apathy towards their own education or own academic or behavioral progress, and it's just their brains are wired differently. It's the endorphins, or what they call that, pleasure, where your brain releases these chemicals, serotonin or something like that, where it releases the chemical when you win something, right? And instant gratification. They're wired for that. Their brain has become like rewired to instantly get that gratification when they win that little video game, or when they're watching something, or when they're hitting the button, or when they see sparkles and colors and music to solidify that win. And I literally broke it down to one kid one day when I was trying to explain to him, like, hey, you really need to listen to this lecture, you need to listen to your teacher's presentation, okay? And he was like, why are you telling me to do? I don't understand. I said, to be quite honest with you, you're just looking at someone else's coding. It's just a software coding that makes the characters of the game and the movements of the game and the colors and the rhythms and all this other stuff. You're not looking at anything that's real. It's just coding, just numbers and symbols put together and organized in such a way that it creates a false experience for you. And he literally was like, I don't know if it clicked for him. I don't know if it clicked. I don't know if it spooked him. I don't know. But it was interesting. Like, it's very, very scary. We're being pushed by the state to improve these test scores, but the brains of the minds of these children are not, their brain isn't there to, I better focus on my grades. No, it's set on like it's become digitized. You know, like the AI that they're now enforcing in all of this our computer softwares, forcing AI engagement constantly. That's all I'm getting is automatic. I'll be typing something. I won't even be like on a website typing something for a paper in one of my college courses, and I get automatic a phrase that I haven't even thought of pop up on my screen. It thought about what I was going to say next before I did. What? So yeah, the digital age is rot. It's I won't say rotting the brain, but it's reprogramming how we think, how we feel, and how we interact in our reality with each other. We're trying to push and uphold these old educational systems in a patriarchal society onto a very digital, disconnected, apathetic culture. How is this supposed to work? And it's not. It's not. So those of you who have children, look, I'm not coming for parents. I'm not, this isn't a video like bashing parents, but it does start at home. Limit, you have to, okay, you know, I would say what I would do. If I was a parent and I had a child, I wouldn't have devices in the home. Truly. I would probably be one of those granola, hippy-dippy parents who live off grid raising my child. That's how scary. That's how scary it is in the real world, in the classroom, when I'm seeing in education, when I'm seeing in the hospitals. This is my opinion. I'm not stating fact. This is my observation, professional and personal. It is what it is. We do not understand the consequences of this new digital age. It's just something of convenience. Oh, get with the program, Rashida. It's been around for 20 some years now. Get over it. It's just the way it is. Okay. Let me tell you something. What I see in education, your AI will become the teacher. They're going to enforce homeschooling. Right? And we're becoming more and more surveillanced as time goes by. Even me putting all of these videos up, right? We're being pushed to put more and more of our information up online so that the AI can formulate and become more knowledgeable and wise, and over time, sentient. Yes. A lot of the things 50, 60 years ago, people were like, oh, that will never happen, and it's happened. This will happen. What school? Schools are going to become, I think, more of a communal community resource centers. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I feel. That's what I'm thinking. And this is my observation. I love your afro. You're welcome. So cute. I've been seeing afros everywhere. Sometimes I miss mine. It's a lot. It's a lot of work maintaining an afro. Wow, didn't mean to get off subject, but this is what I see. I can make a separate video on other things that I see, how AI will slowly integrate itself. We have no clue. I do, though. As an intuitive spiritualist, I do. But most of society doesn't. We're looking at how convenient it's made life. But you turn off that electricity, though. And listen, I grew up in a household where, shit would get cut off sometimes, from time to time. Mom did the best she could. I have no shame about it. It is what it is. So I know there's some people who don't know what that's like. When they gotta go a whole, week or two without electricity. What you gonna do? When your whole house is a smartphone. You have a smart house, smartphone, smart keys. Like now, in order to get in my apartment, it's a digital lock now. So if anyone could really hack into the software governing and securing my lock to my apartment and unlock that shit. Where's the lie? I'm not making it up. So, this is what's happening to our children. This is what we're allowing. You take a child's phone away now, it's the end of the world, man. It all started with the video games, right? Yeah, I think the only way, if I were ever to become a parent, which I don't, but, I don't have that desire, but if I were, it would have to be off-grid, or as best as I possibly can. I don't even think no one can truly be off-grid. There's so many off-grid people posting their off-grid lifestyle online. I'm just like, okay, like, you're still online, right? But what values are we teaching our children? What are we teaching our children about self-reliance? How to get from point A to point B without using a Google Maps, or how to use a map, or without using a Uber or Lyft. Oh no, what do you do? What do you do when your phone is completely destroyed and all of your phone numbers are locked in that phone and you don't have access to all those phone numbers? What do you do? Are we teaching our kids how to exist without a digital device? Are we teaching them survival tactics? Hey, this is what happens if we lose power, or this is what happens if you completely lose your device. This is where to go. This is what you do. This is the number you need to memorize, the phone number you need to memorize, not just 911. Like, no one else is thinking about this? I'm going to ask, our parents, are you thinking about this? This is going to bite us in the ass so hard. Like, oh my gosh. It is going to bite us. Oh. But then again, I mean, if you think about like people who grew up, they were kids in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, and then they become grandparents, great-grandparents, and then they look at my generation and they're like, oh my gosh, what? They don't use stick shift? Oh my goodness. What is that block that they carry on their person and they stare at, when they pull it to their ear? That doesn't have a cord, like maybe it's just my age where my frustration's coming from and my concern. But we're not giving the children that extra preparation if things don't go right. If things go right, great. Like, the digital age is amazing. It's so convenient. It makes things so much more faster and concise, and expectations are met a lot quicker, right? You're not having to sit by the mailbox waiting for an important document. You can have things e-signed and sent to you through your email, and then we rely on the security, the firewalls. Like, we have access to all this wonderful stuff. But what do you do when things go left. What do you do? What is your plan? Who do you call when you don't have a memory card? When you don't back up your data? When the iCloud or the cloud, right? The digital ether, I like to call it, completely gets hacked, or it's just the system's down, or it crashes. I remember before I started teaching this fall, back in, I think it was July or June or August, there was a global hack, right? A hacking where people were landlocked in the airports, right? And even some hospitals were affected by some of the systems. And I even noticed that. I was doing some charting on a patient and I couldn't gain access to certain information because the website was trying to recover, or the software was trying to recover. But we weren't hit too bad where we were located, luckily, right? But yeah, it's just food for thought, I guess. Tell me what you think. If you have kids, how do you monitor their digital life? How do you allow them to even have a digital device? Why do kids need cell phones anyway? Why? They don't pay any bills. If I tell you to be at point A, you better be at point A at this time. Otherwise, I will know that there's something going wrong, right? And the online bullying, which causes suicidal ideations in some young kids, which they'll harm themselves or harm other people, because they don't have that mental or emotional fortitude yet, because they're so young and their hormones are raging and they feel like just so isolated from the world because they're going through what they're going through. I'm specifically talking about middle-aged kids, but yeah, that's a major concern for me, with their learning and engagement when it comes to their intellectual development in the classroom, and just how are they going to survive when they don't have access to the digital world? Like, what in the hell? How are they going to figure it out? I grew up in the born in the late 80s. Okay, 35. All right, born in the late 80s. Grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. I remember I was dating somebody in college, undergrad, and I still use the payphone. I swear to God, with my nickels, dimes, and quarters, just ching, 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 do, 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 do. Hey, hello. And it was in the middle of winter, Christmas break. I never forget that. I grew up in that, where we used phone books. I grew up where we wrote letters still. It's scary. Please let me know your thoughts. I know I can't be the only one thinking this. I just can't. But I see so much. I see so much in the classroom, it's not even funny. I see so much, it's hard to, it's a lot, almost too much sometimes, of what we don't even comprehend. It's just the cognitive dissonance, the societal, cultural dissonance I am feeling at the age of 35 as a professional and just as a human being, making it in this crazy world. It's real. It's felt. But I know for sure I can't be the only one thinking and feeling this and feeling the dissonance, right? The mental, emotional, spiritual, physical dissonance in the air, in my culture, in my country, in my neighborhood, in my job. It's like, we want you to go this way, but we also want you to go that way. So you want me to split myself in two? And it's just interesting. All right. May this message find you well and whole. I hope the upload goes in okay. All right. See ya.